The views and opinions expressed on all radio shows broadcast on KYOK are entirely those of the host, guests, and callers who are entirely responsible for all show content and do not in any way reflect the opinions of KYOK Radio, its sponsors, staff, or management.
You walk out on that field today. Ask yourself this question. What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Let's go! We ready! We ready! We ready! We ready! I'm going to the house! I'm going to the house! When I step on the field, I send one message. This is what it feels like. This is what it feels like. Football is getting hit. That's it. It's gonna be football now. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Let's hunt now. Let's hunt now. Let's go. Let's hunt. We ready? I'm going to the house. I'm going to the house. We're talking about the Jets like we're talking about the Saints. You know, all this, y'all know we the Miami Heat of football. Yeah. The bottom line is you got to buckle up the chin straps. It's embarrassing. Yeah. Don't disrespect the game like that. So much crying from him. He's a man. He can be a hit just like us. He's a man. You already make the big money. He's a man. I'm proud when you step on the field, man. That's who I did. When I step on the field, I send one message. This is what it feels like. Oh, my bad. You had to work in my world. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. We ready? I'm going to the house. I'm going to the house. It's a wrap. Game over.
No, game is not over. It's just getting started. It is Winning Wednesday right here on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK and the all-new 92.3 FM. It is a day. It is the day after, I guess you can call it. Wow. You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm trying to get to. You know, I'm loving what's happening in sports. I'm loving what's happening with the different teams in the NBA. I'm vaguely interested in what's going on in baseball. It's way too early to get my attention for that. NFL draft is coming up. Obviously, talking about that. There's major news, developments going on in the SWAC, college football. One of the best coaches in this SWAC leaving one school to go over to the MEAC and be the head coach over there. We'll talk about that. But I would be absolutely remiss if I didn't say yesterday I was hanging on pins, needles, knots in my stomach, my throat, my head hurting, mouth dry, after I got the message while driving that the jury in Minneapolis had reached a decision. Now, if you remember, I think it was yesterday or the day before that I said I did not think the jury would be out long. I know a lot of folks thought, oh, yeah, it's going to be a long deliberation. I didn't think that. I'm not saying I was right and everybody's wrong. I'm just saying I didn't feel that. That wasn't in my spirit. But something about when I got that message, they've reached a decision. Man, whole different stuff going on in my mind, in my body, in my throat, in my emotions, all of that. And then they made us wait. They made us wait. They made us wait some time. They made us wait. I mean, literally to the point of, you know what they say, about 3:30, 4 o'clock our time Central, and it took a lot longer than that. It seemed like it took forever from that point on. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I struggled with it. I wrestled with it. I was like, man, what is this going to be? And all the pundits were doing their talking. Hey, John Foster, all the experts, all the analysts, all the legal analysts, all the civil rights folks were doing their thing. And there we waited. There we waited. We waited. We waited. We waited. So I don't know. And then it happened. Went into the courtroom. Judge took his spot. Everybody stood up for the jury to come in. He pulled that thing out of that envelope. He didn't nicely get it out. He pulled that thing out of the envelope. And then I thought he was going to read it and then allow the jury, four people, to read it. But that ain't what happened. He read it out loud. And Derek Chauvin, former police officer Derek Chauvin, was found guilty of second-degree murder, second-degree manslaughter, and third-degree murder. All three charges filed by the state of Minnesota against Derek Chauvin, he was found guilty of. And I can honestly say it. Listen, this is my truth. It doesn't have to be our truth. It certainly doesn't have to be your truth. My truth is, I did not think in my lifetime I would see a white police officer found guilty of murder in connection with a black man or a black woman. That's my truth. Clearly, I was wrong. I'm okay with that. But I don't need you to try to talk me out of my truth. That's been my experience. That's what I've seen around the country. If charges are even brought at all, they typically end up in the favor of law enforcement. And I'm just speaking my truth as if they could do no wrong. People have been murdered running away from the police officers, so there's absolutely no fear for that officer's life. People have said before George Floyd, I can't breathe, Eric Garner. And they were choked out to death. No officers convicted. And literally blame the victim, the person who has been killed, blame their death on them. Oh, well, he had high blood pressure issues and heart issues and overweight and all that. It's like, so black people can die for being fat. Black people can die for having high blood pressure. Black people, be murdered for having high blood pressure, can be murdered for, selling loose cigarettes, for selling CDs, for walking through neighborhoods with Skittles and soda, for playing in a park with a toy gun. I'm not just talking about black people, I'm talking about children. So I'm sorry. In my lifetime, AJ Jones, never thought I would see a verdict like yesterday. All charges, not watered down charges, not, well, we're not going to convict him of this. We'll just go ahead and settle for that. None of that. first white police officer to be convicted of murder in the state of Minnesota. Let that sink in. So, again, that's my truth. Doesn't have to be yours. I'm curious to know what your feelings were yesterday when you heard the verdict. We'll talk sports, I promise. David Grubb going to be joining us. We're going to talk a lot about sports, but I want to hear your thoughts. What were your emotions? I cried, but I wasn't celebrating. I know a lot of people feel like justice was done. I feel like accountability was held up. The former officer was held accountable. I don't think we got justice yet. There's still a sentencing phase. There's still other cases right there in Minnesota. And oh yeah, by the way, another young life was lost yesterday at the hands of police officers. So it's far from over. It's far from justice. Accountability. But for me now, my truth, I don't feel like we've been justified. Take a break. Be right back right after this on the lunch break on the Legendary KYOK.
Hello, this is Claude Cummings Jr., Vice President of the Communication Workers of America District 6. Trey and I are inviting you to listen in to our new political talk show, Power to the People Political Hour.
Hello, this is Trey Daniels from the Daniels Group. Yes, Claude, the show will be hard-hitting and informative, talking about national and local political issues of the day, week, and month. Interviews will be with pastors, community leaders, elected officials, and political operatives. You know, Claude, a part of our responsibility is informing the citizenry and give them power to the people.
That's right, Trey. We're asking that you listen in on 1140 AM, 92.3, or streaming on KYOKradio.org, Thursdays at 10 a.m. You got to give the people time. Give the people what they want.
The Legendary KYOK 1140 AM and 92.3 FM. The legend continues.
I'm Ben Tankard, and you are listening to The Lunch Break.
All right, y'all. Back here on the lunch break on the Legendary KYOK, all new 92.3 FM. I'm sorry, I got something that I have to play. I don't know why I let myself forget to play it, but let me get that together. Got to take care of the business around here. Man, listen, can't forget to pay the bills. All right, be right back after this on lunch break.
John P. Key, the legendary John P. Key. John P. Key. John P. Key and New Life is coming to the Houston area in Porter, Texas, at the Embassy Event Center. Join Apostle David Gilliam as we welcome John P. Key and New Life. It's the I Made It Out Drive-In Sabbath concert. Saturday morning, April 24th at 10:30 a.m. Admission is absolutely free, but you must reserve your spot by texting JPK to 346-715-0711. That's 346-715-0711. Come be uplifted and refreshed with John P. Key and New Life. 10:30 a.m. on Saturday, April 24th in Porter, Texas at the Embassy Event Center. Make sure you text the letters JPK 346-715-0711. That's 346-715-0711. The legendary John P. Key.
I'm Ben Tankard, and you are listening to The Lunch Break.
All right, now we're back on the lunch break on the Legendary KYOK and the all-new 92.3 FM. I'm AJ Jones. It is our Winning Wednesday. You do have a chance to win a free classic barbecue sandwich, courtesy of Dickey's Barbecue Pit. Man, these things are good, good, good. I've had a lot of people call me after winning their tickets or coupons, whatever, just how good it was. And most folks don't just go for the sandwich. They also go and they get the ribs. You can get the regular ribs. You can get the spicy ribs. You can get the pulled pork. You can get the brisket. You can get the sausage. And the sides are amazing. I love their potato salad. I'm a mustard-based potato salad guy, not a mayo-based potato salad guy. That's how they do theirs. But yeah, all that they have is good at Dickey's Barbecue Pit. And we're going to give somebody a chance to win a free classic sandwich, chopped beef sandwich. So keep your ears right here for your chance to win. All right. So again, my question, what were your feelings? What were your emotions? What were your thoughts? What were your comments? How did you react when you heard the verdict? And like I said, I did not celebrate. I couldn't. I mean, it was a release and even a relief. But for me, I couldn't celebrate. I couldn't say, finally. And then again, not long after that, got the news about Micaiah up in Columbus. And I know I've had a bunch of people who, have responded to me about that one up in Columbus. We'll talk about it in a little bit, but, I'm curious on your thoughts on the Derek Chauvin guilty verdict on all counts. He had his bail revoked and was immediately taken into custody in handcuffs. And from what I understand, he's already been transferred to a maximum security prison in Minnesota. I think it's called level 5. Excuse me on terminology. The only level 5 maximum security prison in Minnesota. He's already been transferred there, where he'll be held for about 8 weeks. It's going to be about 8 weeks between yesterday and the sentencing phase, because there's going to be a whole lot of motions on things to consider, not consider, and things like that in reference to his sentencing on both sides, the defense and the prosecution side. So, again, there is a lot that can happen between now and then. I don't believe that the decision will be overturned, but that whole sentencing phase could go any number of ways. So, like I say, just kind of not celebrating, but it was a first step. It was a first step. So, we'll see. We'll see where things go. All right, I got a lot of text messages. I'd rather you call if you can. 281-453-1000. 281-453-1000. I would like to get your thoughts, your feedback on the verdict that came down yesterday. I'd like to get that. Again, you don't have to be on long. It can be a hot, real quick, hey, AJ, this is so-and-so from what part of town you calling in, or what city, what state. And when I heard the verdict, I fill in the blank. 281-453-1000. 281-453-1000 here on the lunch break on the Legendary KYOK. A lot of sports figures spoke out following the verdict. The NFL released a statement. I was kind of surprised by that, given the way they colluded, treated, and even in many cases convicted Colin Kaepernick in particular, Eric Reed in addition, and others. Say what you want to say about the NFL. They settled out of court for a lot of money. I know folks have said, oh, it was probably $1 million. It was probably only $10 million. Some folks think it was more than that. Bottom line is whatever the amount, they settled and paid it. It was between 7 and 10 figures. And they settled and they paid it to Eric Reed and Colin Kaepernick so that they could avoid going to trial. Obviously, they've admitted no guilt. That's typically what you do in a settlement. But, put it this way. If Deshaun Watson settles with his accusers, don't say, well, he's guilty and he settled so that he wouldn't go to jail, if you're not going to say that the NFL was guilty and they settled so they wouldn't suffer a loss. Let's get the same brush out. Let's keep the same energy when it's this situation or that situation. But yeah, the NFL released their statement. I'll read it after the break, but then I want to drill down to one particular NFL team that released a statement, and it came from the top, the very top. All right, we'll be right back right after this on the lunch break. Winning Wednesday on the legendary KYOK, all new 92.3 FM.
Talk with your boy, TD Blackshear, every Tuesday from 10 to 11 a.m. on the legendary KYOK, 1140 a.m. and 92.3 FM. See you there.
In need of tires? Check out OMG Tire Services and more. New and used tires, all the name brands you desire. Located at 3126 Tidwell, between 59 North and Jensen. Give them a call at 832-767-3211. Top-notch service from beginning to end. When you're done, get your car hand-washed inside and out at OMG Tire Services and more. Located at 3126 Tidwell, between 59 North and Jensen. Call 832-767-3211. That's 832-767-3211. Conveniently located on the north side.
The legendary KYOK 1140 AM. The legendary KYOK 92.3 FM. Radio stations in one.
The old way of living with diabetes is a pain. You've got to remember to do your testing, and you always need to be sticking your fingers. The new way to live your life with diabetes is with a continuous glucose monitor. You simply apply a discreet, easy-to-use sensor on your body, and it continuously monitors your glucose levels, helping you spend more time in range and freeing you from painful finger pricks. If you test your blood sugar at least 4 times per day and inject insulin at least 3 times per day, or use an insulin pump and have private insurance or Medicare, you might be eligible for a CGM with little or no cost to you. Call U.S. Medical Supply today for a free benefits check. We offer free shipping, 90-day supplies, and we bill Medicare or your insurance directly. Call now and say goodbye to finger pricks.
800-633-1378. 800-633-1378. 800-633-1378. That's 800-633-1378.
Hi, I'm Larry Scott, host of the Not So Christian and Me Show. Join me Saturdays for great fun, interviews, music, and the latest news surrounding our world today. We are the show that cares to hear your voice and opinion with real conversation in a no judgment zone. So join me Saturdays from 1 to 2 p.m. on the Not So Christian and Me Show, right here on the legendary KYOK Radio, 1140 AM, and the all-new 92.3 FM and KYOKradio.org.
This is Brian Courtney Wilson, and you're listening to The Lunch Break.
All right, y'all, we're back here on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK and the all-new 92.3 FM. It is our Winning Wednesday. Somebody's going to get a free classic chopped beef sandwich, courtesy of Dickey's Barbecue Pit today, courtesy of the lunch break and the legendary KYOK. So just stay right there. Keep listening for your chance to win. All right, so let me give you this statement from the NFL following the verdict yesterday. NFL made a statement yesterday, and here we go. Let's see. Here we go. Several teams made statements yesterday. Hold on. I got too much stuff going on over here. Y'all sit tight. Stay right there. Y'all stay right there. Okay. Now, New England made a statement. Washington made a statement. Buffalo made a statement. San Francisco made a statement. But here is the NFL's official statement. It says, and I quote, today's outcome in the Derek Chauvin trial in Minneapolis does not undo the loss of life. Mr. George Floyd should be here with us today. Our hearts remain with the Floyd family, and we understand the pain, anger, and frustration does not go away even when justice is delivered. Importantly, even as we identify reasons for hope, we must continue to help move our society towards a more equal and just tomorrow. We are proud to partner with NFL players and clubs and remain committed to do the important work needed to make positive change in our society, end quote. That was courtesy of the NFL. I'm not going to be ungrateful. I'm not going to be as bad as I probably could be. But that last line, we are proud to partner with NFL players. Which ones? Because y'all weren't proud to partner with Colin. And y'all weren't proud to partner with Eric Reed and Kenny Stills and Marshawn Lynch. Y'all were proud to partner with Malcolm Jenkins and others who were less vocal, in some cases less activist focused. So it's almost like the NFL was picking and choosing which one of the players and clubs and community organizations that they were committed to partnering with to do the important work needed to make positive change in our society. How can you vilify Colin and Eric, but be okay with Malcolm and the folks that was on his team and with his group? I'm not saying it had to be one or the other. I'm saying you're the whole doggone NFL. Like, even if Colin never got on another team, at some point you say, hey, Colin, you were right, bro. Colin, you were on to something. Colin, you kind of saw this before a lot of us realized it was as bad as we thought, as we now know it is. Like, you didn't even have to make a big grand announcement. We could have gone okay with seeing Colin Kaepernick on your leadership and in your committees and on that. And I know there are fans that hate Colin Kaepernick. They feel like he was the problem. No, he wasn't. You know better. And to make a statement as strong as this, today's outcome in the Derek Chauvin trial in Minneapolis does not undo the loss of life. Mr. George Floyd should be here with us today. Our hearts remain with the Floyd family, and we understand the pain, anger, and frustration does not go away when justice is delivered. Importantly, even as we identify reasons for hope, we must continue to move our society towards a more equal and just tomorrow. That includes admitting where you're wrong. I'm not saying go on I've used my white privilege apology tour. I'm not even saying go on the whole, we were, oblivious to what was going on. You don't have to do any of that. But it just makes it hard to believe when you make a statement like that and you haven't even tried to sweep up in your own house. Hello, you're live on the lunch break. Who's this?
Hey, AJ, it's Keith Hennick.
Call it year 2020, my brother, like no other. What's going on, man?
Well, a couple of comments about yesterday. The guilty verdict was fair and just and obvious, and people should celebrate that verdict. The question is sentencing. If this man, Derek Chauvin, gets a 5-year prison sentence, do you think people are going to be okay with that?
Nope, not at all. No. I mean, hold on. Let me say it right. Some people will. But no, not no. I won't. I'll take it on myself. No, I won't.
No, I won't either. The poop's going to hit the fan if he is not sentenced properly. However, when police officers go to prison, they typically don't live very long. And if he gets any time at all, I won't say that. That's not fair.
You know, and Keith, I appreciate your honesty, and that's the kind of show this is. You're welcome to come with your point of view, your perspective, and you even caught yourself. Let me piggyback on what you were gonna say. I don't want him to die. I know there are folks that are on one extreme to the other, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. I know there are other people, well, we can't wish that on him and want grace on ourselves. I don't want him to die. I want him to pay the price for his crime, whatever the law allows. And I think one of them was 40 years, the other one was 25 years, and the other one was 10 years, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
And I have a feeling they're not going to stack those. I have a feeling that they will run concurrently, one to another. I don't believe he's going to do the full amount of that time. I don't think he should do the lesser amount of that time.
Well, I have a feeling for murder, a 10-year sentence is almost ridiculous. If you take a human life, you deserve a very, very long and tough prison sentence. I did catch myself. I believe the guy is a rabid dog, and the veterinarians put those animals down every day. And I think that's what he deserves. However, I don't wish that on him. But I do believe it's going to happen. So really, the jury is still out until sentencing. And that's the point that I'm trying to make is, yes, we all feel good about the verdict, but how long is this man going to pay the price?
Yeah. Again, Keith, I appreciate your honesty. I appreciate, your transparency. I don't want to become, for me, again, I'm just speaking for me. I don't want to become what Derek Chauvin was. He did not care about the life of the man who was lying underneath his knee, who did not need to be underneath his knee, subdued and controlled any longer. He needed his help. He needed his assistance. Literally, he needed his grace. He needed him to get up. If he didn't do compressions, if he didn't do mouth to mouth, all he needed to do was get up and get out of the way. And he did not get that from Derek Chauvin or the other 3 officers whose trials are upcoming. That being said, I won't allow myself to become Derek Chauvin. Just like I tell friends of mine who, with the young lady that got Micaiah, that got killed up in Columbus, they say, well, she got what she deserved. She was trying to stab somebody. She's 15. She's 15 years old. I won't allow myself to become numb and say that's okay. I wish there was another way that they could have restrained her or stopped her. I hate that deadly force seems to be the first option and the only option when it comes to Black people. And that's where my concern is. So again, I respect you. I appreciate you. And I appreciate you catching yourself. That's one of the things I love about you, Keith. You are so open. You are so willing to understand and see things differently. And man, you don't find people like that very often these days.
Well, I appreciate that. That's the way I've spent my whole life, and I feel a great deal of hatred towards this cop. And I wouldn't mind if he spends 100 years in prison, or if something else happened to him. Well, too bad. He really, if someone stood on his neck for 9 minutes and change, that wouldn't hurt my feelings at all. And I realize we differ on that point, and I respect your opinion. I do. But I'm very, very angry at that kind of police work. I'm very angry about it.
Yeah. Well, Keith, I love you, brother, and that ain't gonna change. That's not gonna change.
Yeah.
Our differences won't change my love for you. There was a witness in the trial who literally looked at the defense attorney and said, "You can't make me out to be an angry man. I won't give you that power. I won't give you the power to paint me out to be an angry man." And that's, I won't let any differences between us stop us from being brothers. I won't.
Well, and that's the way we're going to stay, young man.
All right, man. You be safe out there. Make plenty of money, Keith.
I'll do my best.
All right, man.
All right. Take care.
Keith had it Call of the Year 2020. I'm in every word. I'm in every word, every vowel, every syllable. This is, seriously, this is where I'm trying to get in my part of the world. I'm not trying to force my beliefs on other people, and I'm certainly not trying to get theirs forced onto me. And I will never be okay with a young black life being taken. Was that young lady in the middle of a full battle with not one, but two girls? Did she go after the other girl with that knife in her hand? Yes. Man, you're behind her. Tackle her. Man, don't make the first thing you pull is your service weapon. Grab that taser and stop her. 4 shots, center mass. I know it's the training. And I'm going to go ahead and say this too. Don't use these words with me. That's a good shoot. That was a good shoot. Don't use those words with me. That's cop talk. I'm not a police officer. There is no good shoot. Somebody died on the other end of that good shoot. Especially when that person on the other end of the good shoot is a 15-year-old girl, 15 or 16. There's been mixed reports. Damn it, AJ, she was about to kill another girl. Stop her. Don't kill her. Tackle her. You saw her fall towards you. You saw her go after the other girl. You had time to pull your gun. Could you have pulled the taser? Could you have tackled her when she went after the first girl? Some kind of way, man. Some kind of way. Other cultures live through stuff like that. Just police us like that. Just police us like that. So the other group that I wanted to talk about, I can't get to real quick because it's going to take me longer than a minute and 24 seconds that I got. The Minnesota Vikings released this statement. The past year following George Floyd's death has been extremely painful for the Minnesota community, particularly for the state's black residents. While today's decision does not minimize the anguish or solve the intolerable issues of racism and hate, we hope it can mark the beginning of community healing. Now more than ever, it is crucial to respectfully listen, communicate, and engage in order for us to move towards an equitable society. We must address the unacceptable continued violence and hate towards people of color and commit to using our individual and collective voices to end the divisiveness and racial injustice. Our work is just beginning. Our commitment is unwavering. As an organization, we will build upon the foundation we've already established in the following critical areas: reducing social-economic disparities, implementing educational curriculum on racism and Black history, and advocating for law enforcement and criminal justice reform. We will continue to be agents of positive, transformational, and sustainable change. End quote. Sorry for the tongue ties. I'll be right back with more right after this on the lunch break.
1140 AM and 92.3 FM. The legendary KYOK.
If your loved one has passed away due to COVID-19, pay close attention to this message. You could be entitled to a death benefit of over $300,000. The U.S. government has set up a fund to pay families relief if they've lost a loved one due to COVID-19. We know this is a hard time for you, and this fund has been set up by the federal government to help ease your pain. The compensation includes a death benefit and lost wages benefit. Time is limited, so we urge you to make a free phone call right now. There's no cost to you for this claim. All legal fees are only covered once you receive your money. So if you've lost a loved one due to COVID-19, call the legal helpline right now to find out if you qualify for a cash award. Here's our number: 800-876-7047. 800-876-7047. 800-876-7047. That's 800-876-7047. Paid for by the IPG Law Group.
Now the war is not over. Victory isn't won.
No, the battle is not over on our right to vote. The governor and lieutenant governor of Texas are leading the charge to suppress the right to vote of African Americans and other populations in Texas. The pending legislation is nothing short of updated Jim Crow voter suppression laws. These laws will make voting in Texas harder, not safer, and are clearly intended to suppress minority voter turnout and undermine the ability of local election officials to encourage voter participation. Let's mobilize and start a movement against this racist legislation. Let's call 512-463-0733 and tell them, don't suppress my vote. Vote against House Bill 6 and Senate Bill 7.
Legislative advertising paid for by the Communications Workers of America Working Forces Claude Cummings Jr. agent.
Do you watch television? Of course you do. Then have you tried Dish TV from All American Dish yet? No? Well, now is a great time because we are giving everyone that calls today a 2-year locked-in price. Your rate will not change for 2 years. The clock is ticking. Call now, get Dish, and get your price locked in for 2 years and save yourself some money. Dish has your favorite TV programs, even Netflix and Amazon Prime built into the DVR. You can even watch Dish anywhere you have an internet connection. Plus, we've even got awesome discounts for the military and seniors. Oh, and one more thing. Call All American Dish now and we'll even give you a free Google TV voice remote, free installation, and free equipment. Don't wait. Call All American Dish now.
800-296-1302. 800-296-1302. 800-296-1302. That's 800-296-1302.
John P. Key, the legendary John P. Key. John P. Key. John P. Key and New Life is coming to the Houston area in Porter, Texas, at the Embassy Event Center. Join Apostle David Gilliam as we welcome John P. Key and New Life. It's the I Made It Out Drive-In Sabbath concert. Saturday morning, April 24th at 10:30 a.m. Admission is absolutely free, but you must reserve your spot by texting JPK to 346-715-0711. That's 346-715-0711. Come be uplifted and refreshed with John P. Key and New Life. 10:30 a.m. on Saturday, April 24th in Porter, Texas at the Embassy Event Center. Make sure you text the letters JPK 346-715-0711. That's 346-715-0711. The legendary John P. Key.
Hey, what's up? This your boy Lunch Break. Keep it locked.
Oh, wow. It skipped right over his name. That's kind of interesting. That was James Fortune. And he said, you're listening to the lunch break. Keep it locked. Let me wipe that off so we don't have that happen again. But anyway, I want to remind you now, we got a new show on the family here, KYOK, AM 1140, 92.3 FM, and KYOKradio.org. It's called Coffee with Keith. Coffee with a K with Keith airs every Saturday from 12 to 1. Great show. Longhorn Keith, y'all know him. Y'all have heard him have very intellectual and just, man, substantive calls right here on the show. I tell him all the time, brother, when you call, it brings stuff out of me. I feel like I just need to sit back and let you talk. Well, he's got his own show now. It's called Coffee with Keith. You can check it out right here, AM 1140, 92.3, and streaming live on KYOKradio.org Saturday from 12 to 1. And, man, I'm telling you, you'll find out more about coffee than you ever thought you would know, and you'll find out how to monetize it. So be sure and tune in to Coffee with Keith. All right, so I read you the statement from the Minnesota Vikings. I'm not here to pick and choose their statement over anybody else's statement, but they're at ground zero. They're at ground zero. And I really believe that them and the Timberwolves and the Lynx and the Twins. Does Minnesota have a hockey team? I don't know. I believe that they're trying. I mean, they have to. You can't be in that environment and not try to be a part of the solution. So I'll give them that. I will definitely give them that. While I'm on it, let me go to the NHL before I come back to the organization that I want to talk about in the NFL. The NHL released a statement, and stay with me now. Pay attention unless you're driving. Stay with me now. Pay attention because it's a long one. Long statement warning. Here we go. NHL. While we hope to end, I'm sorry, I did it again. Stop it. Read what you see and see what you read. Okay, here we go. While we hope the end of the trial offers a chance for healing, we remain committed to actively engaging in the movement for equality, and we invite our fans to join us in supporting systemic change. End quote. End quote. That's it. That's the quote. That's the message. That was the tweet. The NHL, National Hockey League statement following today's verdict in Minneapolis. And I quote, while we hope to the end of the trial offers a chance for healing, we remain committed to actively engaging in the movement for equality, and we invite our fans to join us in supporting systemic change. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you, NHL. Next. I don't have any words for that. Their fan base was quite interested. Here's what the hockey fan base thought about that. This guy said, well, my verdict is my interest in pro sports just went down. We're told by the news, we don't need this. Hockey fans weren't trying to hear that. One guy said, hockey fans hate the NFL for supporting equality. One guy said, you're a sports league. Another guy, you ready? While I agree with the verdict, stick to hockey. Another guy, while I'm down with the verdict, why does the NHL need to chime in? One guy, bro, delete this. I can't say the other word. Now, there were other people that read it and took it differently. This person said, it's legitimately hard to write something this devoid of meaning. One person said, why did you even bother? This person said, you wrote this statement to fit whatever the outcome was today, right? I mean, the exact same words could have been used if he was found not guilty. This is the most nondescript, insert something meaningful here statement that really can be said. Interesting, to say the least. And then the statement that took the whole thing, the statement that did it for everybody. Everybody. You ready? For the Las Vegas Raiders. The Las Vegas Raiders tweeted out 18 hours ago these 3 words. I can breathe. 4/20/21. I can breathe. 4/20/21. Where to begin? I can breathe. George Floyd said, I can't breathe. The Raiders said, I can breathe. Person said, communications department approved this. PR department approved this. Digital team approved this. Legal too, probably. Unreal. A long-term fan said the Oakland Raiders wouldn't have tweeted this. They're the Las Vegas Raiders now. One gentleman said their millennial social media intern clocked out at 5 p.m. sharp. No way this is coming down tonight. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. That one took the night. And it got worse. We found out later on that Tayshaun Reed, who's the beat writer for the Raiders, the Athletics, and others, got an interview with owner Mark Davis. And he said, Raiders owner Mark Davis said, I can breathe wording came from George Floyd's brother, who said, today we are able to breathe again. Davis added, if I offended the family, then I'm deeply, deeply disappointed. He also said, the post won't be deleted. Davis said he wasn't aware that the New York Police Department's supporters wore I Can Breathe shirts following the 2014 murder of Eric Garner. After I brought that up to him, he said, and I quote, I learned something. I'll have to do a little bit more research into that just so I can speak coherently on that aspect. And then he said, let me say this right off the bat. I was not aware of that. Absolutely not. I had no idea of that. That's a situation that I was not aware of. I can see where there could be some negativity towards what I said based on that. Davis said, I wasn't watching the talking heads. I was listening to the family and I was trying to take my lead from them. But if that's the I Can Breathe t-shirts are what the cops are wearing, then really it's a bad statement. But he said, I'm not taking down the post. So in other words, you're not trying to be a part of the solution, because you've now found out that that's not part of the solution. That's part of the problem. And you've decided that even if you got it wrong, you're going to keep it up. Because, I don't know, I guess because you're Mark Davis, you own the Las Vegas Raiders, and you're an owner, and owners can say and do what they want to say, and regardless of what it means to everybody else, this is what it means to you, so it's what you're going with. I go back to the statement by the NFL, and I'm going to close it. I go back to the statement by the NFL, which reads, and I quote, "Today's outcome in Derek Chauvin's trial in Minneapolis does not undo the loss of life. Mr. George Floyd should be here with us today. Our hearts remain with the Floyd family, and we understand the pain. Anger and frustration does not go away even when justice is delivered. Importantly, even as we identify reasons for hope, we must continue to help move our society forward towards a more equal and just tomorrow. We are proud to partner with NFL players and clubs and remain committed to doing the important work needed to make positive change in our society." You can't even do that in your own league. You can't. You're not even doing that with your own teams. So, thanks for playing. Thanks for coming. Thank you for the comment. That was so very nice of you. 281-453-1000 if you want in. 281-453-1000 if you want in. I got David Grubb standing by to join me. Let me get Sybil Wilkes on here with what you need to know today. Also, a quick sports update, because I just want to focus on him. I don't want nothing to interrupt him and I. Astros pitching let him down again. They lost 6-2 to Colorado. They'll try it again today at 2:10. Angels beat the Rangers 6-2 as well. Same two teams at 3:07. Rockets and Utah at 7. Spurs and Heat tonight at 7:30. Mavs hosting Detroit at 7:30. New Orleans lost to Brooklyn. We'll talk about that with David, 134-129. James Harden going to be out for a little while, indefinitely. And then, of course, the NFL draft coming up next week. Here's Sybil Wilkes. We'll be back with David right after this on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK, all new 92.3 FM, and streaming live on KYOKradio.org.
It's Sybil Wilkes with what you need to know today. Former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin has been convicted on all charges by a jury in the Hennepin County Court in George Floyd's death in May of 2020. The 12 jurors found him guilty of second-degree unintentional murder, third-degree murder, and second-degree manslaughter. Sentencing is expected to take place in the next 6 to 8 weeks. A Walgreens pharmacy in Monroe, North Carolina has contacted patients after mistakenly administering shots of saline instead of coronavirus vaccines last month. According to a statement from Walgreens, the saline injections are often used in training for medical professionals, and that none of the 22 customers were harmed by their mistake. This is not the first mix-up in pharmacy vaccine distributions. Last month, multiple people who went to a clinic at a Virginia Kroger grocery store to receive COVID-19 vaccines were mistakenly given empty syringes. To subscribe to my free daily newsletter, please visit SybilWilkes.com. Be informed, be empowered.
The legendary 1140 AM KYOK Conroe and 92.3 FM K222CX Houston.
The views and opinions expressed on all radio shows broadcast on KYOK are entirely those of the host, guests, and callers, who are entirely responsible for all show content and do not in any way reflect the opinions of KYOK Radio, its sponsors, staff, or management.
All right, y'all, we're back here on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK, all new 92.3 FM. Also, streaming live on kyokradio.org. It's Winning Wednesday, and joining me today is none other than David Grubb, host of Hard in the Paint, also part of MLBBro.com. You know I love him. That's my brother like no other. It's David Grubb. What's going on, man? How you feel?
I'm a little under the weather, have a little cold, but other than that, yesterday was a wide range of emotions. We did the Dome Patrol today. Ross Jackson and I, but we didn't talk any football. We just couldn't. We tried to seg, but it was just. We just wanted to talk about this, talk about what's going on. And so I think when I post it today, I think it's one that you'll really, it's not a easy listen.
Yeah.
But I think it's a good one.
Yeah. I'll be checking it out. I love the Dome Patrol, and I'm going to love it whether y'all talking about the Saints, football, or this, because this is big, brother. I mean, this is huge. Either way you look at it. Give me some of your thoughts. What were your feelings when you heard that a verdict had come in and the wait in between the verdict itself and the notification that one had been reached?
I was picking up my daughter from school when I got the notice that the verdict was coming. And we're on the way home. And we get to the stoplight, and that's when it comes down, and she's sitting in the back seat with me, talking to me, and we watched it together, and we're both kind of quiet. And I asked her what her thoughts were first, and she said she didn't know what to feel, and I said the same, because there wasn't an elation, it's like Chris Rock said, you want a cookie for stuff you're supposed to do, and right. This when it gets to something this egregious, this clear, and you have doubts, and Howard Bryant, put it expertly that, we celebrating something that should just be an open and closed thing. And I just worry that you can use Derek Chauvin, in Louisiana, I'd say it's Chauvin,
Yeah.
You can use him if you want and cut him loose from the system, and the system will say, bad apple, tree is fine. We got this one guy, this bad actor, and he's taken out, but still have faith in the system. And you see the words of people like Nancy Pelosi, and you see the stuff that the Raiders put out, and you see the stuff that the Knicks put out, and you see the stuff that the NFL puts out, and just how many companies and people got it wrong.
Yeah.
In how they responded yesterday. It makes you, I don't view this as an inflection point, because it's not like George Floyd. People want to say he sacrificed himself. That was a man just trying to live.
Right.
He didn't sign up to be anybody's hero or martyr or whatever.
Yeah.
And, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, they knew what the stakes were. John Lewis, they knew what they were doing, going out every day, asking for that change and putting themselves in the target. You don't ask for that when you just go into the store.
Right.
You're just trying to live. And to think that he did this he didn't do this. He didn't do something. Something was done to him. He was acted upon. His life was changed and ended.
Right.
And because of that, other people saw something that we've seen and lived with. This isn't new. So you get the one, and that's only like the 14th conviction out of the last 15,000 police killings. So you get one, and maybe you get a couple more, but the same people are going to be in charge. The same people are doing the training. The same people who last night the police unions out there in force talking about this is a threat to American policing. So when that happens, what do these institutions do? They're going to tighten back up. So that's what I worry about, is what happens next. It's not this one thing. We didn't win. It's like America's been getting I told Ross this, I said, America's been getting a D all semester. And then it got one A on one test. The easiest test, the open book take home exam.
Mm-hmm.
and got 1A. You still got a D average. You know what I'm saying? You got to do the rest of the work. You haven't done the work yet. So, there's no victory laps. There's no celebration. There's no justice, because justice would have been George Floyd going home alive.
Right. Yeah, I retweeted what Bernice King had to say. I've been really following her throughout this because, like you said, it's different what her father signed up for. It's different what Malcolm signed up for and others. She said accountability doesn't equal justice. And, I get people are excited. I said in my lifetime, I didn't think I would see this happen because use your stats. In my lifetime, I've seen more folks get off for murdering Black people than I have seen convicted for it, let alone for murder. That's the game changer for me. So there was accountability, and we still have to see how it plays out in the sentencing.
Mm-hmm.
And there's another trial for others involved. That's not justice. We're not there yet. We're on first base. We haven't crossed the plate yet.
I don't even know if we're at first base. You know what I'm saying? I think we're just like, you're heading to count. You know what I mean? You're heading to count. That's all on one thing. On one thing, this one case. Because do you think it changes how things will happen in Texas? Do you think it changes how things will happen in New York City? Do you think it's going to change how things happen in Florida? It's not. It's not, because it allows people to say this incident. That's why it was so important. I said it, yesterday I said, in the time that it took George Floyd to die, they will turn around and tell you this is evidence that the system works, not that it's broken. So when you get to that okay, then how can we talk about progress when they're already acting like it's over?
Right.
Okay, see, there's no racism.
Right.
You see, the jury did its job. But that's the whole thing. They did their job. They did the bare minimum.
Yeah.
This is a thing where everybody had to say it was murder, and you still had to see it and watch it for you to eat, and we still weren't certain. That's the whole thing, is you still go through it and you're like, no, everybody yesterday, you shouldn't have been on pins and needles for something that you in this case.
Yeah.
In other ones you could say, well, we weren't there, we don't have all the video, whatever, but you watch this from start to finish.
Yeah.
You have the entire time of it. And even then, we still were in a place where you would have bet on losing this than winning it. And so what's the win? What did we get? What did we get?
Yeah. David Grubb, host of Hard in the Paint, writer for CrescentCitySports.com, and a member of MLBBro.com. That was my deal. When I heard the verdict was in, I shut everything down, bro. When I tell you I lock my doors, I call people, get in. They got a verdict. And then the wait in between the message that a verdict has been reached, so when it was read out loud, it was excruciating, brother. I had knots, I had lumps, I had anxiety. And I was literally saying to myself, this finna go wrong. This is getting ready to go wrong. Whatever the least charge is, that's what they might convict him of. But this right here is where it goes wrong. And like you said, given what we saw, there's no way that you can have that dude get up off that dead man's neck and say, great job. No way. No way.
Or you can say, go back to work. You know what I'm saying? Like, just think about at any job. If you worked at the gas station and you accidentally killed somebody, you're not going back to work.
Right.
But when you do something with malicious intent, and they think about bringing you back. And that's the thing you see, is these people who can apologize or just quit their jobs. And like, oh, okay, that's the end of it. They quit their job. But I mean, what are we looking at there? Less than 5 hours after this happens, 15-year-old girl gets killed, shot 4 times in the chest by a cop.
Yeah.
So what changed? Nothing. The same day.
Yeah.
So just because it was basically like, we're running in this marathon, and for about 20 minutes, you got a splash of water in the face to refresh you, because you may be on, you feel like you're on mile 18 and your legs are picking up, and you gotta, facilities are tight and all of it, but you got a splash of water and you got to keep running, because that's where we've been.
Yeah.
And we have no idea where the finish line is. And everybody who says, well, it's another step. How many steps are on this stairway? How many miles are there on this path for us? Because for everybody else, for other communities to say, well, it's another step, but you're already there. So you're telling me my journey, you're happy that I took another step on my journey to equality, to justice, to freedom. I'm tired of steps. We need to start taking jumps and leaps and getting there, because I can't have another, my daughter's about to turn 13, and I can't keep thinking about her as a grown-up, because when she leaves the house, that's how the world sees her.
Yeah. David, we got to take a break, man. That hit me right there, especially given that, like you said, it was not long after the verdict was read, and then you start getting the notifications. Teenage girl. First, they tried to make it a woman, then they tried to make it, situation, and then the details start coming out. And man, all I could think about was my 17-year-old daughter, who is waiting for me to give her the keys to her own vehicle so that she can go out and, like you said, look grown. We'll come back. It's the lunch break. 281-453-1000 if you want in. 281-453-1000 or text me 832-403-5005. Again, it's the lunch break.
Hello, this is Claude Cummings Jr., Vice President of Communication Workers of America District 6. Trey and I are inviting you to listen in to our new political talk show, Power to the People Political Hour.
Hello, this is Trey Daniels from the Daniels Group. Yes, Claude, the show will be hard-hitting and informative, talking about national and local political issues of the day, week, and month. Interviews will be with pastors, community leaders, elected officials, and political operatives. Claude, a part of our responsibility is informing the citizenry and give them power to the people.
That's right, Trey. We're asking that you listen in on 1140 AM, 92.3, or streaming on KYOKradio.org, Thursdays at 10 a.m. You got to give the people time. Give the people what they want.
The legendary KYOK 1140 AM and 92.3 FM. The legend continues.
Hey, what's going on? This is Lecrae, and right now you're listening to the lunch break.
Stay right there, David.
Mm-hmm.
Now, back to the lunch break.
All right, y'all. We're back here on the lunch break. I keep forgetting to play this commercial that we gotta play. I gotta play this one because this is coming up this weekend. Let me hit this real quick. We'll be right back.
John P. Key, the legendary John P. Key. John P. Key. John P. Key and New Life is coming to the Houston area in Porter, Texas, at the Embassy Event Center. Join Apostle David Gilliam as we welcome John P. Key and New Life. It's the I Made It Out Drive-In Sabbath concert. Saturday morning, April 24th at 10:30 a.m. Admission is absolutely free, but you must reserve your spot by texting JPK to 346-715-0711. That's 346-715-0711. Come be uplifted and refreshed with John P. Key and New Life. 10:30 a.m. on Saturday, April 24th in Porter, Texas at the Embassy Event Center. Make sure you text the letters JPK 346-715-0711. That's 346-715-0711. The legendary John P. Key.
Now, back to the lunch break.
All right, now we're back here on the lunch break. Had to pay that bill, David. Had to pay those bills. Man. Even after the verdict, the police union in Minnesota released a statement that the system worked.
Mm-hmm.
And that was their statement. Today, the system worked. Did it?
No.
Okay. All right.
No.
What's interesting to me, and I'm not trying to make this a political show or anything like that. It should be. We should have an element of that. What's interesting to me is you have some conservatives that just really want to do away with unions. They see no use for unions whatsoever. But when it comes to the police union,
love them.
Totally different. Like
politicians love police unions.
Whatever they believe in, whatever they say, whatever they're about, police union.
And because it's not about workers. It's not about protecting anybody. Like you said, teachers unions, unionizing at Amazon, unionizing at Walmart. They're against that. They fight it. They make sure that they get in the mix. Take those protections out without understanding why they exist and how they came to be. But when it comes to the police, because the police are their institution, it's not the community's institution because we don't have any oversight of it. We don't have any protection from it. We don't have any way to hold it accountable. So it's not our institution. It belongs to the government. And by that, they're going to do anything they can to protect it because those are the people who protect them and their place in society. And that thin blue line is not about protecting cops. It's about protecting them from us. Building a wall for us to keep us in our place, to keep us in our positions, to keep us in our neighborhoods. However that line exists, the cops are the wall for that. And people say, well, you're anti-cop. Well, I am. I'm for defunding the police in that regard. I'm not anti the person, but I don't believe in the institution, that it works. But what I will say is this: if you are taught that this is how it works and you feel like you have the ability within that system to do as you please, and they do, because we see it time and time again without restraint, and to the point where other people around you will watch you kill somebody and not say anything, then that's something that's irrevocably broken. And so for it to work, it works every other day. Yesterday is just, that's the price you have to pay. That's their sausage. They lost the cut, one guy in the sausage. And so to them, that it works because it goes back to doing what it does. It turns us away to say it worked for us. We got justice. This is how. And then today they're doing the same things. They go right back to the same things. You saw the LAPD yesterday out there looking like they were ready to fight. And when you bring the muscle to people, just like in life, if I walk up on you and I got my fists up, am I protecting myself or am I sending a message to you that I'm ready? Yeah. I don't know you. I just walk up on you and my fists are, I'm not running fast, but my hands are up.
Right.
What am I telling you?
Right.
I'm not telling you that I'm here to talk to you.
Yeah.
I'm telling you that if you mess with me, I'm here to hit you. And so that's what the signal is. The real signal is in the actions, not in these press releases.
Yeah. Yeah. Real quick, let me read what Big Time Floyd said. Hello, AJ, David, and the Breakers. Even with the video, all the evidence, I was still shocked by the 3 guilty verdicts. Remember Rodney King? The 4 cops were found not guilty. Hopefully, the judge will give him at least 40 years in prison and no parole.
He ain't getting no 40 years. He ain't getting no 40 years. He ain't getting no parole. You know, I mean, like, you know how it goes. The danger. We see it all the time. You see people who commit lesser crimes because, again, black people who commit same crimes get worse since cops don't get sentenced. You're not putting a cop in jail for 40 years. It's just not going to happen. We didn't see that in where you shoot at the female officer who shot the man in his home, said it was a wrong part.
Yeah.
You got the family forgiving her on the stand.
Right.
This is what they will go into. They will have us, again, they will put us in position for forgiveness and ask us to deal with it. They won't ask him to take that burden. He'll be out in 8 years. I firmly believe that. They're going to give him what they say, non-violent first-time offender. They say you get between 12 and 15. If they run those concurrent and he gets 12 to 15, then what do you think is going to happen? He's going to be out in 8.
See, and I'm glad you're on because I was saying earlier that I don't know if they're going to run those concurrent or if they're going to stack them. I felt like they weren't going to stack them. They'll run them concurrently.
That's my feeling is that, the politics of it are who's going to be the judge that put a cop in jail for 40 years because you got to get reelected.
Yeah, that judge right there ran me hot, bro. I use their words against him. Just stick to judging. I don't need you to get political. I don't need you to help the defense with their case that Maxine Waters' comments could possibly be the ticket to a mistrial. And I stood by what I said, and I said it with my throat yesterday. If what the dude in the highest office in the land said between 2016 and 2020 did not cause mistrials, did not cause hung juries, did not cause people to deviate from the law and cause all this to happen, then Maxine Waters will be all right. You go, just stick to judging, work on this case right here, and everything else will be all right. Everything else will be all right.
Yep. But that's not what this is about. This ain't about law. It's not about order. It's about protecting the system. And so I feel mostly that as we go deeper in this in history, as we get 5 years removed, 10 years removed from this, it'll just be.
Yeah. Real quick, my eyes are bad. Let's see. CJ said he planted that seed in their minds. I agree. And that's not what a judge should do. That's not what a judge should do. Monique Smith said a white cop will not get sentenced. Ask the black cop that shot the white woman. Bruh, that was one of the fastest trials in the world. That was the first time I saw a black cop, get convicted of murder.
But they're going to cut it. See, it's easy to cut him loose. You can't, again, what can you do politically? Can you go back to a city and tell people that you let a black cop get off of killing a white woman? Can't do it. You can't do it. And you can't put a white cop in prison for 40 years. You just can't do it. Not and get reelected, because there will be everything in their power. They will go after watch how they go after the district attorney who brought the case. Watch how they go after the judge who was over the trial. All these things. And that's why these people who are served on their jury, I hope that they stay safe too, because retribution is real.
Yeah.
And especially for those 6 people of color on that jury.
Yeah. So, let me hit a quick commercial. I'll be right back.
Tune in to Table Talk with your boy, TD Blackshear, every Tuesday from 10 to 11 a.m. on the legendary KYOK 1140 a.m. and 92.3 FM. See you there.
In need of tires? Check out OMG Tire Services and more. New and used tires, all the name brands you desire, located at 3126 Tidwell, between 59 North and Jensen. Give them a call at 832-767-3211. Top-notch service from beginning to end. When you're done, get your car hand-washed inside and out at OMG Tire Services and more. Located at 3126 Tidwell, between 59 North and Jensen. Call 832-767-3211. That's 832-767-3211. Conveniently located on the north side.
The legendary KYOK 1140 AM. The legendary KYOK 92.3 FM. Radio stations in one.
I'm Larry Scott, host of the Not So Christian and Me Show. Join me Saturdays for great fun, interviews, music, and the latest news surrounding our world today. We are the show that cares to hear your voice and opinion with real conversation in a no judgment zone. So join me Saturdays from 1 to 2 p.m. on the Not So Christian and Me Show, right here on the legendary KYOK Radio, 1140 AM, and the all-new 92.3 FM and KYOKradio.org. Beautiful people, this is Major. This is why I love you on the lunch break.
All right, y'all, back here on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK, all-new 92.3 FM and KYOKradio.org. Talking with David Grubb, host of Hard in the Paint, writes for CrescentCitySports.com, does all kinds of great things with MLBBro.com. Love that. Love what I'm seeing out of that. And let me put this out again. This is our truth. This is our experience. It doesn't have to be yours. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to come over to the side. This is what we've experienced in David's lifetime, my lifetime. And oh yeah, by the way, we don't let other people program this show. You're welcome to make your comments. In fact, I said, I'm not reading these text messages. Call me. Back this up with your voice. I'm saying what I'm saying. You say what you say. Just don't cuss. Just don't be disrespectful. We can talk. We can dialogue. So that being said, what's going on with the Raiders, man? What's wrong with Mark Davis? I know what's wrong with him. But what's wrong with it?
When you come from that place and you think that you can, everybody wants to feel good when you deal with issues of race. They want to feel good, and this is easy. Corporations saying the bare minimum or getting it wrong and not having a repercussion, because there's nothing to hurt the Raiders in this.
Yeah.
You know, their fan base ain't going anywhere. But what's funky is that when they've heard the backlash and they still leave it up, just take it down. Just all you have to do. No one asked anybody to make statements.
Right.
No one. The Floyd family didn't ask for that.
Yep.
They didn't ask. We didn't. Black people didn't ask for it. And this performative stuff, whether it's the Raiders or Congress people wearing kente cloth when they do, or all these things, they're unnecessary. They don't deal with the issue.
Right.
And that's what none of this is about, the issue, because they just want to deal with the broad idea of freedom and justice and all those things, the broad idea, not the nuts and bolts, not the things that are broken in the machine and the parts that have to either be dismantled or replaced. They're just worried about the idea. And yesterday, the idea felt good for them. And they felt it assuaged their guilt in this and their complicitness in this. Because we're all complicit in some way or another. All of us. Black, white, whomever. But when you're complicit in it from that angle, when you're the complicit on the side of the oppressing, you got to find some way to make yourself not be the bad guy. And nobody wants to be the bad guy.
Right.
And that's where the Raiders are. That's where the Knicks are. That's where the NFL is like, you don't want to be the bad guy. But where's the real action? Where's the stuff that we're asking for? Don't send another check. That's not going to fix this. Another check is not going to fix this. The only thing that's going to fix this is a transfer of power. And allows to give up, and that's what it is. People in power have to give up some for people who are disenfranchised to have some.
Yeah.
They don't want it. They don't want to do that. They don't want to share it. They don't want to share the mic. They don't want you on the stage. Stay in the wings where you belong. And that's what this is about. It's like, hopefully y'all will leave us alone for a while and we don't have to hear about this anymore.
See, that's the thing that got me with the Raiders, because Mark Davis was literally informed. This is why this is insensitive. This is what this is tied to. He said, I wasn't aware of that. I didn't know. Well, you know now. But then you come back with, and I'm not taking it down. So now it wasn't that you didn't know. It wasn't that you were not aware. It's you going to do what you want to do. You're going to say what you want to say. And nobody can tell you differently, because your approach, your statement doesn't even line up with the league statement, which then makes the league statement invalid when you talk about working with your players. First of all, which ones are you willing to work with? Because you weren't willing to work with Colin. You weren't willing to work with Eric Reed. You weren't willing to work with Kenny Stills. You weren't willing to work with, Marshawn Lynch and others. You work with Malcolm Jenkins. We know why. But you weren't willing to work with everybody, and your own clubs are doing what they want to do, saying what they want to say, and causing further division and pain.
And it shows you too. That's why the lack of diversity in these front offices and in their social media teams and their communications offices. There's nobody in there to say this is a bad idea. If the whole room looks the same, and there's no one in there to say maybe you want to reconsider sending this out, then who's going to stand up for those folks and make sure the message is communicated properly? So what you get is what they really want to say. And like you said, even after you find out, it is not the offense that is the issue, it's how you respond to it.
Exactly. That's it right there. David, I pride myself. It ain't about me, but I pride myself. When I get it wrong, I'm going to be the one to tell you I was wrong. I'm going to be the one. And if you bring it to my attention and I realize I was wrong, I'm not going to fight you on that. Yeah, I was wrong, but no, I was wrong. If you walking in on the street and I step on your shoe and I turn back and I say, I'm sorry, I stepped on your shoe, you ain't going to be mad at me. If it was just an accident, that happens. People have make accidents. But if you say, excuse me, you stepped on my shoe, and I say, bleep you on your shoe, and I keep walking, well, now we have a whole different level of communication between us. And it's never going to be the same.
And that's what this is like, I think that there will be players again, but what is their option? And that's the whole thing is, do you get to a point where players can say, this is a hostile work environment. This team is a hostile work environment for me. I am an employee of the NFL, not the the Las Vegas Raiders. So if I feel like this is a hostile work environment, can you get me out of here? Can you protect me if I don't want to be here because these people are not responsive to my needs? That's going to be the test when somebody really pushes that envelope.
Yeah.
A player, a coach, somebody say, I can't do this here. I can't do it with these people, because we've all had to make that choice in life.
Yeah. There was a young intern that I knew when he was at Texas Southern that used to work for the Raiders. And when I tell you, this dude would literally call me and say, you will not believe what's going on in here right now. And and when he filled in the blank after that, it was, you got to be kidding me. Like, I don't even think I can report that. That's how crazy that nonsense was. I had a guy who used to play for the Raiders, and he and I were together when Al Davis died. And he literally said, I hope Mark doesn't get that team, because Al didn't respect him enough to put him as the heir apparent. Mark didn't want to run a football team. Mark wanted Al's attention and his love and his approval. But Mark didn't put in the work to run the team. And sure enough, Mark got rid of Hugh Jackson. Mark got rid of, I forget our girl's name. She was in the front office up there too.
Not Kim. Dang, I forget. But I know it.
Got rid of her too. Not Trask, not Amy Trask.
Amy Trask, yeah, it was Amy.
Got rid of her, and he literally got rid of the people that his dad respected and would have put in charge. And now here's what we got. And I'm sorry, man. Slim Thug said it best. You got these people running these organizations all because their family had bread.
I mean, it's that, and that's the difference in this country, right? You have one group of people who have generational wealth built on the backs of another group of people, and group of people who is denied the opportunity to create generational wealth. And so they don't see this as an issue because this is how it's always been.
Oh, that brother. Hold on. They'll kneel on your neck for 9 minutes and 29 seconds to make sure you don't mess with their power, their control, and their wealth. You can do all that other stuff. Go get you a platinum CD. Go be a rapper. Go be whatever it is you want to be. Do movies, all that. I'm not knocking those industries.
You need
go be an athlete. Go be an entertainer. But when you start stepping over into this, oh yeah.
That's why Obama upsets the apple cart for them, and I got my criticism of him, and that's for a whole nother thing.
But see, you can do that. That's what I love about people that think we idolize. They trying to think that we're making George Floyd out to be a model. George Floyd was what we all are, a flawed man.
It's not about what you are, your virtue. Yeah. It's about your right to exist.
Right.
Good people, bad people, indifferent people, people with nuance. We all deserve the right to exist and not be executed by the state. It's that simple. To not have your day, your opportunity to defend yourself, especially when it has nothing to, when you shouldn't have to be defending yourself in that regard, when you shouldn't have to have your life splayed on the streets. And that's what they refer, that's that cycle of attack the victim and say how bad they were as a person. It has nothing to do with their virtue, their goodness, or their badness. It has everything to do with their right to live. And we should demand that any one of our neighbors, if you get arrested, there's never in my lifetime been a black person who said somebody who actually committed a crime should not be punished for it. But that punishment should be proportionate and it should be just. And if you are punishing people before you have all the facts, which is what these officers are doing in the streets, that is not how the system is supposed to work.
Right.
But in theory, that's what I'll put on the end of that. In theory. But in practice, that is exactly how it's supposed to work, because there is, again, no mechanism for us to have recourse afterwards other than the courts, which are then also 90% of the judges in courts are white men. So where do you have that? When the juries are overwhelmingly not you, when the courts are overwhelmingly not you, when the police are not you, what do you get? You get treated as a second-class citizen.
Bro, I'm trying, and I didn't mean to take you off point with the Obama thing. I'm glad that you didn't agree with him on everything. I don't agree with him on everything. Never did. But that being said, I wasn't going to disrespect him. I wasn't going to undermine him. I wasn't going to, talk down to him. And that's why I've had to check myself. I'm not going to be the voice of white people and their agenda of cutting down black people. You're not going to use, but AJ said, no, you're not going to use me like that. You're not going to use me like that. I'm not going to be like your boy's name in the sports industry that I'm never going to say his name again. I'm not going to be that. That's his thing. I don't have to be that. So, again, when you attack those things, when you attack that power, when you attack that control, when you don't submit, when you don't, respect their authority, bruh, it can be deadly. It can be deadly. And to your point, and I'm glad Willie Gibson's on. He and one of my frat brothers sent me the actual video of the young lady Micaiah being shot last night. She didn't get what she deserved. She's 15, 16. She's a little girl. She got killed. She got murdered. I wish that the officer had not just gone to lethal force 22 seconds after he arrived on the scene. I know it's easy to play armchair quarterback after the fact, but the other end of not doing that is her death. Could you have tackled her?
Why are they so scared though? That's the thing. It's like every time this happens, it's because the officer was so scared. But aren't you supposed to go through training to not be scared? Isn't that why pilots go through training when the plane is having a problem, that they can keep their cool and try to land it and do all this? That's why you go through training. That's why soldiers go through training. That's why officers go through training. That's why nurses go through training, so that when there's a code and somebody's breaking down, they don't panic. So you are in charge. You have deadly force at your fingertips, and you don't use the maximum amount of caution before using that. You cannot bring people back. That's not an error that you can. That's not, people say that's why pencils have erasers. You can't erase these errors. So the judgment has to be the extreme in using your best judgment to not harm people when you are given that power, the power to take someone's life. When you have that in your hands, you don't use that indiscriminately. You don't use that out of fear. You don't use that out of whatever your sense of entitlement is, that you have the right to choose who gets to live and die. Your job is to bring that criminal, if that's how you view them, to jail and have their case adjudicated properly. That is, your job is not to decide whether that person should live or die in the street, unless you are under true imminent harm. And even then, the cop is supposed to be the one who does. When you signed up for it, all of them say, I just want to get home tonight. But part of you signing up is knowing you might not die, might not live through the day. And if that you have taken it on, but the person in society is not taking that burden on to enter into armed conflict with you. And so you have a position that they don't. And that's the whole thing, is everybody keeps saying that anxiety when there are several jobs that have been rated year after year more dangerous than being a cop, but yet cops are scared of everybody. Why are you so scared? If you're that scared, don't be a cop. Quit your job. Go do something else. We don't need you if you're scared in the streets. We really don't. If you're that scared of the people that your job is to police and protect, you don't need to be out there.
Brother, a lot of folks have said it. Well said, David. April Marche, right. Man, imagine if it was okay for a pilot to crash 10% of the time.
I'm scared.
Yeah.
I'm scared.
Yeah. Imagine if it was okay for a doctor to, lose a patient 10% of the time. 10% of the time. I was nervous. I didn't want to cut deep enough, or I didn't want to cut too shallow. I was afraid.
Oh, it's so malicious. Like if a doctor did that, if a doctor just started, I got nervous during the surgery and I just started, doing this in your insides and the person dies on the table, then you get fired and they have malpractice and you don't get in it. Your insurance is canceled. All these things to make sure you never get to do that again. You don't get to make up for that error, because in that circumstance, we're saying you had somebody's life in your hands. They came to you for help and you didn't give them the best possible care. That is the same standard you have to apply for law enforcement, because that girl called for help and the help shows up and takes her out. So if these are the things that we have to have, we would not accept this standard for anybody else. If somebody served you a bad burger and you died, that restaurant would be yours to, your family would have that spot tomorrow. But if you put a bullet in me because you think I'm dangerous, you think, you're not certain, you think, you're scared. How is that proportionate?
I know Willie's listening. I love you, Willie. I just wish that they would have used something other than deadly force. You saw her come at the first girl. Could have hit her or tased her then. You saw her run past you and go after the other girl. Could have tackled her from behind or tased her then. But to go straight you went past your taser to the service weapon and shot 4 times center mass. You knew she wasn't getting up for that. You knew she wasn't getting up from that. I want black people to be policed like others. That's all I want. That's all I want. Just do that and we good. I
just want them to deal. Honestly, I just want them to deal with the causes of all this.
Yeah.
Hold
that thought real quick.
No, the battle is not over on our right to vote. The governor and lieutenant governor of Texas are leading the charge to suppress the right to vote of African Americans and other populations in Texas. The pending legislation is nothing short of updated Jim Crow voter suppression laws. These laws will make voting in Texas harder, not safer, and are clearly intended to suppress minority voter turnout and undermine the ability of local election officials to encourage voter participation. Let's mobilize and start a movement against this racist legislation. Let's call 512-463-0733 and tell them, don't suppress my vote. Vote against House Bill 6 and Senate Bill 7.
Legislative advertising paid for by the Communications Workers of America. Working Forces, Claude Cummings Jr., agent.
Do you watch television? Of course you do. Then have you tried Dish TV from All American Dish yet? No? Well, now is a great time because we're giving everyone that calls today a 2-year locked-in price. Your rate will not change for 2 years. The clock is ticking. Call now, get Dish, and get your price locked in for 2 years and save yourself some money. Dish has your favorite TV programs, even Netflix and Amazon Prime built into the DVR. You can even watch Dish anywhere you have an internet connection. Plus, we've even got awesome discounts for the military and seniors. Oh, and one more thing. Call All American Dish now and we'll even give you a free Google TV voice remote, free installation, and free equipment. Don't wait. Call All American Dish now.
800-296-1302. 800-296-1302. 800-296-1302. That's 800-296-1302. If your loved one has passed away due to COVID-19, pay close attention to this message. You could be entitled to a death benefit of over $300,000. The U.S. government has set up a fund to pay families relief if they've lost a loved one due to COVID-19. We know this is a hard time for you, and this fund has been set up by the federal government to help ease your pain. The compensation includes a death benefit and lost wages benefit. Time is limited, so we urge you to make a free phone call right now. There's no cost to you for this claim. All legal fees are only covered once you receive your money. So if you've lost a loved one due to COVID-19, call the legal helpline right now to find out if you qualify for a cash award. Here's our number, 800-876-7047. 800-876-7047. 800-876-7047. That's 800-876-7047. Paid for.
John P. Key, the legendary John P. Key.
All right, last one. I'm sorry about
John
that,
P.
Dave.
Key and New Life is coming to the Houston area in Porter, Texas, at the Embassy Event Center. Join Apostle David Gilliam as we welcome John P. Key and New Life. It's the I Made It Out Drive-In Sabbath concert. Saturday morning, April 24th at 10:30 a.m. Admission is absolutely free, but you must reserve your spot by texting JPK to 346-715-0711. That's 346-715-0711. Come be uplifted and refreshed with John P. Key and New Life. 10:30 a.m. on Saturday, April 24th in Porter, Texas at the Embassy Event Center. Make sure you text the letters JPK 346-715-0711. That's 346-715-0711. The legendary John P. Key.
Brian Courtney Wilson, and you're listening to The Lunch Break.
All right, last break right there. We're about to wrap it up. Want to get back with David Grubb, host of Hard in the Paint, writer for CrescentCitySports.com. Also provides amazing content for MLBBro.com. And I'm following Rob Parker on Instagram. Don't tell him, because he got me on Twitter, but I'm following him on Instagram. I'm even liking pictures I don't even know what they of. I like that. I'm trying to get back in his good graces, man. But, y'all got an amazing lineup, man. I clicked on the link. I saw your team, and man, I love what y'all are doing. I definitely love the content because y'all turned me on to some young brothers that I ain't know nothing about. So I appreciate the work that y'all are doing, man. Tell Rob, great job, great vision, and y'all are making it happen, man. Keep up that good work.
It's exciting. Baseball has always been a big part of my life. My dad, that was his first love.
Yeah.
He's not a great basketball player. He didn't play football. He loves baseball. And that was the first thing that we were taught. That was the game that he coached me and my brother in. And, my first passion, of course, is basketball. But the game of baseball is something that you get kind of disconnected with living in Louisiana because there isn't a professional team, in vicinity. So it really was dependent. But now I get to get back into it. And like you said, be with these young writers, too, these cats in their 20s. And, they come to me and they're talking about, basically I'm the big brother of the group of the writers under the management because I'm the oldest, but they're teaching me stuff too. And to get into the game this way again, I love it. And the content that we get to do with the way to try to bring it to Black audiences, and not just Black audiences, but folks who just want a different take on the game.
Yeah.
This used to be a link. There used to be this really tight bond between baseball and Black people, and it's been broken over years. And I think we can reestablish that. And you saw during Jackie Robinson Day how many players donated their salaries and how many the Players Alliance and the work that is doing CC Sabathia, many of those guys. And now it's starting to carry over, and you're starting to see that personality pop out with these young guys, like in the heyday when you had the Ricky Hendersons and the Ken Griffey Jr.'s and Ozzie Smith and these guys who brought such energy, style to the game.
Yeah.
You just want to love it again. And baseball turned into beer league softball for about 15 years, and we need to get it back to being baseball where all those skills, speed, strength, power, agility, timing, all those things come back into vogue rather than just big guys hitting it station to station.
Yeah. Well, again, brother, I love what y'all are doing, bro. I mean it. I love every bit of it. You were talking about the New York Knicks, and I finally pulled up their statement, and I get it. I didn't see this one before. The Knicks said, at MSG, we remain committed to fostering a society free of racism, bigotry, violence, and hate through our actions and the strength of our community.
What does that mean? That's just word salad. That doesn't mean anything. It means nothing. That's what you go see, performative gestures. Like I said, until you attack the problem, we're just throwing Band-Aids on cuts. And we need to figure out the problem. When you have the virus, what do? You get a vaccine, right? But what they would just want to give you some contracts, some Robitussin. We don't need Robitussin. You know what I'm saying? We need the vaccine for this stuff. We need to end and eliminate these practices. And it's just you can't keep slapping these. You can't keep giving me cold medicine. At some point, my body's going to become too tolerant to it, and I'm still be sick. And we've been sick.
Yep.
We got walking colds for 400 years.
I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. Hugh Douglas posted that he's sick and tired of trying to explain to other people how hard it is to be Black. And let me throw this on here real quick. I'm tired of being called a victim and having a victim's mentality. Listen, you may not have experienced what I've experienced or David has experienced, and we may not have experienced what our ancestors experienced. That doesn't make one more important than the other. And you don't get to tell people who they are and what they are just because you never experienced it. Just stop it. Just quit. Everybody who has 280 characters don't have to have a post or a tweet or an opinion. Just stop. Sit this one out if that's all you got.
It's not always about you. Yeah, it's not about you. It's about something bigger than you. But people, and when you use the word victim, and like we've seen the change in that terminology from survivors of sexual assault, from survivors of different things, they don't want to be called victims because it's not your fault. None of this is our fault. We didn't create any of this. So when we're saying to you, this hurts, this damages, this, why would somebody want to suffer? We are the same. If we're the same, if people have the basic same needs, the hierarchy of needs does not change from human being, from country to country, from race to race, from man to woman. We all have the same hierarchy of needs. So if that's the case and mine aren't being fulfilled, then I'm telling you that in pain. And all I'm saying to you is please stop doing that. And you say on my end, I'm victimizing myself.
Yeah.
I know someplace you can go. But you can also come see me too. If you really want to, you can come see me because we're not going to talk about it at some point. And I mean, if you don't want to understand, it's a difference between I don't understand and I don't want to, and I don't care. And there's a lot of people who don't want to and don't care. And I'm not here to explain it to them. And I'm not here to be polite to them because I really don't care in the other direction anymore.
Yeah, I said to one of my young people who I mentor, I'm tired of being friendly, man. I'm focused. I'm not focusing on your feelings. I'm not focusing on our friendship. I'm focused. And I mean it. That's why
that's liberal. That's conservative. They're like, when people think we talking about police, we talking about white cops. No, we talking about police.
Right.
We're talking about the whole institution. When we talk about government, we ain't talking about representatives who, when you say, well, you got bad black representatives in your city. We're talking about all of them, everybody. The system in itself is inherently racist. It's systemic racism, not individual racism we're talking about here. So it doesn't, when you're part of the system, that doesn't change just because you're a white person in the system or a black person in the system. You're part of that system, which is inherently foul.
Yeah.
So I'm not, there are people who think that they're allies who are doing more damage than good.
Yeah. Dave, before we go, we got to talk about your Pelicans. Tough game last night with Brooklyn, 134 to 129. Zion went off for 33 at 7. Is it let's leave this playoff push alone time, or is it they got one last run left in them?
Ain't got no runs up. Think about how it is to get to 500, because that's really the mark. Is somebody who in the West is getting to 500? The Pelicans got to win 11 games out of 14. 11 out of 14 to get to 500. None of the teams in front of them have to go double digits.
They finna get hot.
They have 3 games against the Warriors left. It can't guard the 3-point line. They're one of the worst teams in the league at guard the 3-point line. And they ain't seen Steph Curry yet? Come on now. It's been over for the Pelicans this season. I thought they would be lucky to get to 30 wins. That was my thought. The 30 would be the like when I saw that roster, I said 30 to 33 max. And it looks like that's where they're probably going to fall. But this is a flawed team. And I don't think there's a good relationship right now between Stan Van Gundy and the front office. I think that they don't communicate well. I think David Griffin is a used car salesman, and he's sold the people in New Orleans a bad car so far. And the lemon law, you got one more year. You can't miss the playoffs with Zion Williamson 3 times and think he's going to stay. Like, what are you doing here, man?
What you call that man?
Used car salesman. He's selling. What was those guys who used to go out in the back in the day? Snake oil salesman. That's what they call it, snake oil. They got the healing treatment in the bottle, and they're out there like that's what he is. What has he done? Honestly, let's just be real. What has he done besides win with LeBron? What's he done? What's he done? Who is he drafted? Who is he developed? Everything in his. He's another one of those people. Like you look at it in life. He born on third base. You get to New Orleans your first year. You get Zion Williamson dropped down to you as a gift. You get the Anthony Davis trade as a gift. What have you done since then? What have you done? 2 losing seasons. That's what you've done.
Bro, did I tell you I love you? Because I do. I do. I just want folks to keep it real with me. Do you hear me? When I was at De La Salle, they called me the N-word. I didn't want to wonder if that's what they thought about me. When they told me, I knew what I was dealing with. Some other places I've been, they would say one thing and then they would do something else. I love people to just keep it real. That man called that dude a snake oil / used car salesman. Bro.
You only see people when things are good. Honestly, how many times do you see a general manager or president of basketball operations in reality? You don't know. 90% of them, 99% of them, outside of Pat Riley and a few other people, you can't even identify them if they were standing next to you.
Yep. Yep.
Do you see David Griffin all the time when it's good? You never see him when it's bad. Never.
What's going to have to happen, man, for y'all to turn it around next season? Like the Rockets are going to be turning around next season. And oh, yeah, by the way, I'm on the record. This Rockets team, based on whoever they draft and whoever they re-sign, is going to be in the top 8 when it's all said and done next year. Write it down. Go ahead.
I wouldn't be surprised if you got healthy John Wall, healthy Christian Wood, and one more guy.
Kevin Porter Jr.
You get some veterans around there. You got to start. Kenyon Martin Jr. I mean, that kid looks solid. There's some talent. There's just really young.
Look, I'm telling you, we got something. I'm just saying, but go ahead.
But for the Pelicans, it's like you don't have intelligent basketball players. And I'm not saying that as people. I'm saying basketball IQ, they don't play with purpose. They play the game. Mm-hmm. And there's a difference between playing basketball and playing winning basketball. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter your level of skill. Everybody's skilled. Mm-hmm. But there's a difference. What you're looking for is supreme competitors. And the Pelicans' best players right now are not its best competitors.
Gotcha. All right, Stan Van Gundy's still the man?
They're not going to fire him after 1 year because what does it look like then if you got 3 coaches in 3 years for Zion?
Yeah, that's true.
So, and this is a weird season, so they'll do that. But if that was the case, again, I don't understand why they kept Alvin if you were just going to fire him at the end of the year anyway. That's the part that bothered me. So now you bring in Stan and you don't give him – and Griffin admitted that he didn't give him the roster that he needed at the beginning of the season. So why? Why would you do that? That's the part that I don't understand. So I like Stan. I don't agree with a lot that he's done this year. There's things that I've called him out on. But I also think that David Griffin has put some constraints on him as far as time management with players and load management and being able to put lineups in, the JJ Redick situation, all those things. It's just been really bad in New Orleans this year.
Hey, man, if you got any availability possible, I'd love to have you back, not this Friday, but next Friday after the draft or, before the later rounds of the draft. Yeah, let's get into it. We'll get behind that after that first round. But David Grubb, tell everybody where they can find you and follow you, man.
At DM Grubb, Instagram and Twitter. Like I said, new podcast. You can get any format, anywhere you get yours. Hard to Paint. And don't just check out this week. I mean, there's some back ones that are timeless in the catalog. So if you're new, dig through the crates. Yeah. And there's some hot singles in there. And,
come on, record store, man.
There's some hot singles in there. There's some deep cuts to get to the tracks. You know what I'm saying? So, like Method Man and Redman last night, they went in the repertoire. So.
Yep. David, be safe out there, brother. We'll talk to you again next Friday, okay?
Love to you.
All right, love to you too, man. Listen, we got to get ready to go. Sybil Wilkes with her What You Need to Know Today. And then, of course, Donnie McClurkin up next. I'll talk to y'all tomorrow. Y'all be blessed.
It's Sybil Wilkes with What You Need to Know. Former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin has been convicted on all charges by a jury in the Hennepin County Court for the murder of George Floyd. The 12 jurors found him guilty of second-degree unintentional murder, carrying a maximum sentence of 40 years, third-degree murder, a maximum sentence of 25 years, and second-degree manslaughter with a maximum sentence of 10 years. The jury reached its verdict Tuesday afternoon after deliberating for about 10 hours over 2 days in a city on edge against another outbreak of unrest. The courthouse was ringed with concrete barriers and razor wire, and thousands of National Guard troops and law enforcement officers were brought in ahead of the verdict. Prosecution moved to have Derek Chauvin's bail revoked. Judge Peter Cahill granted the motion. Chauvin was then handcuffed in the courtroom and taken into custody by the Hennepin County Sheriff's Office. To subscribe to my free daily newsletter, please visit SibylWilkes.com. Be informed, be empowered.
The legendary 1140.
All right, y'all. I really hope y'all enjoyed the show. I know it was different. I know we didn't talk about a lot of sports, but y'all know me by now. So as always, not this, definitely this. I love you. There's nothing you can do about it except wear your mask, wash your hands, sanitize everything around you. Be sensitive to everybody around you. Give them whatever distance they want and what you need for yourself. And when you see that racism, kill it, not the person or the people, the racism. Stop killing unarmed Black people. Please stop killing unarmed Black people. All right, y'all. Y'all take care. I do love you. Talk to you tomorrow.